Hi, this is Raina from thecheesethief.com. Today, crafting for consumercrafts.com. And today I'm going to show you how to make this adorable cupcake using polymer clay. But not only is this cupcake adorable, you can twist it open and inside is actually lip balm. And I'm going to show you how to make this very simple 2-ingredient lip balm that's super fun to make with your kids. So let's get started. To start off, we're going to make the polymer clay cupcake first, and then we're going to do the lip balm. So to make the cupcake, you're going to need this plastic container, a toothpick, or a metal embroidery needle. And this is not pointy at all, and it's pretty thick in gauge. And I'll link to all of these below. You can buy them all at consumercrafts.com. This is the razor from inside a craft blade. I actually just took out the razor from my craft knife. E6000 glue, or you can use a hot glue gun. And then you're going to use polymer clay. I'm using purple for the cupcake liner, brown or tan for the cupcake, and then blue and white mixed for the swirl on top, and black is for the eyes and the mouth. And I'm also going to need a piece of foil, and this is to cover the plastic, some chalk pastels to give the cupcake a little more depth, the color in the cheeks, you can see, and then and the top of the cupcake. And I'm also going to use some sandpaper, and this is just to finish off some parts of the cupcake if they're a little rough. To start off, I'm going to take my foil and I'm going to cut a piece bigger than the size of my container. And this is to wrap the bottom portion of the container. So just unscrew the top portion and then wrap your bottom portion. You're going to want to wrap both portions of your container separately and then put the polymer clay on. So just wrap the sides and tuck in the foil inside. Now I'm going to take my purple polymer clay and roll it into a ball and then flatten it out to about 1/8 of an inch thick. You want to make it as big enough to cover the sides and the bottom of the bottom piece of the container. When it is big enough, you're going to pull up each side, each opposite side, and then go around and keep pulling up the sides. It's okay if there's a little overlap. You can keep rolling it on your table until the overlaps disappear or are well blended. Now I'm going to take my craft knife and I'm just going to go around and cut off the excess clay. To make the pleats of my cupcake, I'm going to take my embroidery needle and go through and make equal parallel markings all through the bottom of my cupcake. Just go around using equal pressure. After you're done, you want to remove the bottom plastic container from the foil. Do this carefully as the polymer clay has not yet been baked and is very soft. Now cover the top lid as you did with the bottom lid with the foil. And take your tan polymer clay and roll it into a ball and smash it onto the top of the lid. You want to make a dome shape around the top lid, overlapping the bottom edges of the lid a little so that when you screw on the lid for the lip gloss, it will not show the bottom plastic. Now you want to take a small toothbrush, and this is optional, but you could texture the top of your cupcake to give it a little more dimension and look more realistic. I just go through and softly brush the cupcake to give it that baked look. Now I'm going to take my orange and my brown pastels and using my craft knife shave off a little bit. This is to color the top of the cupcake to give it a little more dimension and depth. Now I'm going to take my black polymer clay and roll it into a snake to create the eyes and the mouth. I find that the best technique to make even eyes is when after you roll into a snake, measure out 2 equal pieces and then roll them into a ball. For the mouth, instead of making a smiley face, I'm going to make a mustache. If you just wanted a smiley face, you can just roll a thin snake and then cut out a piece and curve it to place it onto the cupcake. To make a mustache, I'm going to roll out 2 even balls in teardrop shapes. To make the teardrop shapes, I just put pressure on one side of the ball and roll it. After the teardrops are rolled, I take my embroidery needle and curve the side of the mustache like so. I do the same thing on the opposite side, and then I carefully place my mustache onto the cupcake. To place the eyes, I take that same embroidery needle and place small divots onto where the eye sockets would be. This gives a better look because the eyes will not bulge out of the cupcake. Using that same embroidery needle, I pick up my polymer clay and place the eyes. I also take my mustache and I smash it a little to flatten it out, and then I push that onto the cupcake and adjust as needed. To make the swirl on top of the cupcake, I'm going to use blue and white polymer clay. I'm going to mix it roughly, not having it completely blended through, and swirl it on the top of the cupcake. I just roll it into a snake pattern and then place it in a swirl and push it down on top. Now I'm going to remove the top lid from my polymer clay. After you remove the top lid, you want to spread out the bottom edges of the cupcake so that when you put the bottom and the top of the top of the cupcake would overlay the bottom portion of the cupcake. So just go around and spread it out a little. Now with the foil in place on both the top and the bottom lid, you want to place it into the oven based on whatever your polymer clay directions say. I placed mine in the oven and now they're baked and they're actually cooled down, so I'm going to remove the foil from the top and the bottom of my cupcake. The bottom of my cupcake was a little jagged from where I cut it with a razor, so I'm just going to take a little sandpaper and just even it out more so that the top does not have any jagged edges, and take a baby wipe and clean it off. I'm just checking the fit to make sure that everything fits perfectly before I start gluing the top and the bottom onto the container. The fit seemed right, so now I'm going to use E6000 to glue on my container. After you glue the top and the bottom on, if you find that the bottom polymer clay is a little loose, you can create a small clamp using twisty ties to secure the bottom on while the glue is drying. I do this by using 2 twisty ties and tying them together and then twisting the ends so to tighten the polymer clay onto the container. After your glue is dry, now we can start making our lip gloss. I'm going to use Vaseline and Kool-Aid. You can use any flavor Kool-Aid that you want. I'm just going to use this berry mix. Now I'm going to take my Vaseline and scoop it out with the back of my spoon and place it into my container. And then I'm going to take my Kool-Aid and pour a little bit into my Vaseline and mix it. You do want to make sure that you don't put too much in because the Kool-Aid does give the Vaseline a gritty texture. If you do not want this gritty texture, you can add water into your Kool-Aid and dissolve it and then put it into your Vaseline. But you will have to do a lot more mixing because the water will not dissolve into the Vaseline. So now that everything is mixed, I'm just going to put the top of my cupcake back onto the bottom and screw it in. I simply love the way this turned out. This is a great craft that you can do with your kids, do for party favors. Just so cute and fun and easy. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Be sure to check out Consumer Crafts and all their social media sites. I'll link them below. If you happen to make this cupcake, we would love to see it. Be sure to tag myself. My username on Instagram is @cheesethief and Consumer Crafts. Thank you, have a great day, and remember to be kind to one another. Until next time, bye now.